Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
Happy Monday, everyone. Sports Hounds here with you till 10 o'clock. BMW Atlantic City Studios. With me, as always, Brad Ryer, Frank the Tank Vesby, producing, doing a great job, per usual. Boy, we got a lot to talk about. I don't know if 2 hours is enough, Brad. A national champion will be crowned tonight. Villanova taking on Michigan.
I think that's going to be a victory for Villanova.
I agree, but Michigan has proven their worth, and it's going to be a good game, I think.
Yeah, look, they'll be competitive, but Villanova's a better team. Villanova does not have to bring their A game to beat Michigan.
We got the Philadelphia 76ers. Devastating injury to Joel Embiid. Looks like he's going to be back in time for the playoffs.
How many games have they won in a row now? 10?
10 in a row.
Unbelievable.
Ben Simmons averaging a triple-double over that win streak. Boy, if he's not the Rookie of the Year, I don't know what a Rookie of the Year is.
He could be an MVP candidate the way he's playing.
Brad, baseball is back, and Gabe Kapler and the Phillies had a rough go of it over the weekend in Atlanta to open up. Scanzano Sports poll question of the night is has Gabe Kapler done enough to be terminated? I think yes, even though you can't fire a manager after 3 games. But, I mean, this guy has managed to become the laughingstock of the entire Major League Baseball in 3 games. You have umpires ripping him. You have fans ripping him. You have announcers of other teams ripping him. I mean,
it's bad when you have when I heard Keith Hernandez rip him.
Hernandez ripped him Saturday on MLB
on the Met
channel.
Game. Yeah, on MLB, Keith Hernandez was ripping him.
Oakland A's
Oakland A's, Ray Fosse was ripping him yesterday. When the A's played the Yankees,
who are supposed to be even Steven neutral, or like, what is this guy doing?
Buck Martinez, a Blue Jay announcer, was making comments about him. I mean, everybody thinks the guy's a clown. I mean, there's really
did that coconut oil seep into his brain? I mean, what this guy played baseball. He was a professional. Japan, Major Leagues.
Does he really think Kumbaya is going to work with Major League Baseball players?
I mean, we've seen this before. I told you. I've been saying all winter this guy was the Chip Kelly of Major League baseball managers. I've been proven right so far.
He's horrible.
I've never seen analytics be taken to this extreme. I understand the Sixers use it. I understand it's a tool. The A's used it because they don't want to have a big payroll because they're a smaller market. Owner doesn't want to pay the luxury tax, whatever it may be. I understand but between Matt Klintak and Gabe Kapler, I've never seen analytics be taken to this much of an extreme. I mean, it's like Game 7 of the World Series every night.
And it's not going to work.
It's like what you said in Showfret. Why would you take a righty out to bring in another righty?
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I mean,
if you're going to bring in if you're going to change pitchers, you change pitchers because you're bringing in a righty to pitch to a lefty, or you're taking out the pitcher because he's thrown 20, 22, 23 pitches and you want to keep him for the next day. That I understand, but when you're just arbitrarily changing the pitcher because this guy's 0 for 4 against him and the other one's 1 for 4, that doesn't mean crap. I mean, I'll give you a perfect case in point yesterday. Aaron Boone yesterday, if you go by the book, okay, the book says you always pitch a righty against a righty, and you don't intentionally walk a righty to pitch to a lefty. Okay? Aaron Boone decides, Josh Donaldson is 2 for 10 lifetime against David Robertson, and Justin Smoke is 0 for 5 lifetime against David Robertson. But meanwhile, Justin Smoke has terrorized the Yankees all weekend, and Josh Donaldson has a bad shoulder and can barely swing the bat. So what do we do when there's second and third game on the line? What do we do in the 8th inning when the second and third and 2 outs? We intentionally walk Josh Donaldson, and Justin Smoke gets up, and guess what? He's not 0 for 5. Now he's 1 for 6 with a grand slam and a big fat loss.
This is small potatoes compared to what we're dealing with in Philadelphia.
How about Dylan Betances pitching 2 innings when he can't even get guys out?
I don't even know what
inning?
that is. We don't even. I haven't seen a reliever pitch more than one batter. I think the whole season, 3 games. So 2 innings. Holy smokes!
Yeah, well, the second inning he got blasted.
But I want to go to opening day.
Okay.
How in your right mind are you going to pull Aaron Nola out of that game? The Braves were never going to touch him. You go Nishak and you go Neres.
Why can't you pitch him
68 pitches?
Why can't you pitch him 90, 95 pitches or till he starts getting listen, if he threw 75 pitches and he started getting smacked around, like perfect example yesterday, Sonny Gray pitched 4 innings and he had thrown 85 pitches already. And in the 5th inning, he gave up a sharp single to left field, and Boone took him out. I have no problem with a situation like that. But 67 pitches, and you're completely dominant.
The Yankees also have a loaded bullpen.
Right. No, I understand
which the Phillies do not at all.
No.
And now Tommy Hunter and Pat Neshek are on the DL. And Hector Neris stinks. Phillies fans.
He is horrible.
Whoever thought he was going to get 30 saves in back-to-back years, I think he was just short of 30 saves last year. But you get my idea. He's not good. Hector Neris is not good. Tommy Hunter, I mean, we've yet to see him pitch yet, but yeah, that's a decent signing. But I mean, there's a reason he's been on pretty much every team in the whole majors.
Yeah, he throws hard, but he doesn't always throw strikes.
So you take Nola up at a 68 pitch. I knew they were done. I knew they lost the game right there, right then and there. Could have seen it. Then you look at the opening day lineup. Odubel Herrera's not in the lineup. Scott Kingery's not in the lineup. Jorge Alfaro's not in the lineup. Why Andrew Knapp is playing over Jorge Alfaro, I will never understand that for the life of me. Just based on his glove and defense, Jorge Alfaro should be the everyday catcher. 2 pass balls for Knapp, and then he threw the ball into left field, which led to at least some of the Braves come back. But I mean, what are you doing? Odubel,
I don't understand Odubel not playing. That I don't understand.
And then he's pulling Rhys Hoskins, the best player on the team, out in the 7th inning for defensive purposes.
You don't make that change until the 9th inning. I mean,
Scott Kingery, whatever position you feel like playing him, has to be in the lineup. Odubel Herrera, center field every day. It's easy. You get to the ballpark, you fill out. What do you want to hit him? Lead off, second, third, fourth. Hit him 8th. He's got to be in the lineup. Hoskins every day.
Santana every day.
Every day. Cesar Hernandez every day until he's traded for pitching or Crawford doesn't work out at shortstop. But my God, you lead with your best. You don't play these games with Nick Williams. I have no time for Nick Williams. I don't think he's good at all, folks. Everyone thinks he's good. I don't understand the fascination that Phillies Nation has with Nick Williams. I don't understand it at all. Aaron Althera does so much more for you to help you win. It's not even funny. He's the best defensive outfielder on the team. He's got 25 home run power. He can run the bases. He's got a cannon for an arm. Nick Williams is going to strike out 200. He's not going to strike out 200 times. He's not going to get enough at bats. But if he got 500, 550 plate appearances, he would strike out 200 times. I don't understand. Maybe someone in the chat can explain Nick Williams to me. I've never understood it. I'm at a loss for.
You've always been
no, and I've never been
him.
a J.P. Crawford guy either.
J.P. Crawford still hasn't really hasn't proven anything yet.
No.
I mean, he hasn't proven
He's
enough.
Got a glove, but come on,
but he hasn't,
you got to hit.
He hasn't proven enough actually to justify trading Freddie Galvis, to be quite honest with you.
Michael Lipinski, the guy was a former player. He gets the feel of the game. Believe in the analytics, but damn, you still got to manage what you see. The bullpen snafu was a damn shame. Yes, that was in the 15-2 embarrassing loss on Saturday night. 15-2 you lose to the Atlanta Braves, not the 27 Yankees. The 2018 edition of the Atlanta Braves. You lose 15-2.
By the way,
he doesn't
who are a mile away from making the playoffs.
He doesn't even know the rules to the game. He goes out for the second time to talk to Velasquez. The umpire's looking at him. You got to take him out. Nobody's warmed up. Poor Holtby Miller's got to take his jacket off. Thank God the ump had a heart in his soul to let him throw 5 warm-up pitches so he wouldn't get hurt. The Braves manager got ejected because it was a bunch of bullshit. He shouldn't have been allowed to do that by rule, even though I thought the ump was correct in letting him warm up to prevent a major injury.
Well, you can't blame the Braves manager for getting thrown out. I mean, look, they could have played that. They could have played that game under protest if he really wanted to take it that far.
And then you got Pedro Fleury pitching. This guy is a disaster. Maybe the off day, maybe the snowstorm. He got to lather himself up with his coconut oil. Maybe get in a nice tanning bed and smarten up a little bit. Big Greg Milikovic, what up, fellas? Not yet. It's only 3 games. I agree. It's not. You can't fire a guy over 3 games. You can't terminate him over 3 games. But I've never seen a worse start to.
But he won't. He won't make it
a season.
He won't make it to June.
But I'm obviously in the minority here. No, I agree with you, Greg. It's 3 games. You can't fire him. It's not good, but let's give him more than 3 games to decide the guy's fate. I agree. But, I mean, jeez, oh, man. I mean, how do you take Rhys Hoskins out of the game in the 7th inning for defense purposes?
I don't get that at all.
Who are you gonna put in left field? Kingery, who's never played. He's never played outfield for the.
I don't. First of all,
maybe a scrimmage or
if you're
going to
double
high school ball.
If you're gonna double switch, you don't take out your best hitter.
You never take out Rhys Hoskins.
No,
he's been crushing the ball.
Why would you do that? I mean,
he's the only one hitting for power.
Are you that confident in your team that you can score runs, that you can go and take your best hitter out of the lineup?
And then you go back to opening day. So the Braves tie it at 5. So, like I said before, Odubel Herrera doesn't start, Kingery doesn't start. So he pinch hits Pedro Fleury in the top of the 10th instead of one of those guys. What?
He's an idiot.
What?
He really is.
That's when you sub Kingery in or Herrera in, and you leave him in the game.
Yeah,
you
take
really out Williams, or you take out Altair.
Yeah. What amazes me is Matt Klentak. When you interviewed him?
Well, I mean, you know how I feel about Matt Klentak.
But when he interviewed him, how did he interview him? Did he ask him any questions about what was it exactly that? What made him choose Gabe Kapler as a manager? What wisdom?
Because he's an analytics nerd.
But his analytics make no sense. They make no sense.
I agree with you. I don't understand. It wouldn't have been my choice for manager.
68 pitches for Aaron Nola. Did Aaron Nola come off Tommy John surgery or something?
No.
Was he injured?
Thomas Arnone absolutely has done enough to be terminated. Yes. Start the student eater. Bill Mahan, James Wilder, Be bold, fire Gabe. I like that. I like those hashtags a lot there, James.
They brought Denbo in from the Yankees to be his bench coach. I can't believe that he's asking Denbo any questions.
Going back to the bullpen snafu, where there's not communication.
That's embarrassing.
How many coaches are in that dugout? What is the bench coach doing?
Well, that's the whole.
Hey,
point.
man, you can't go out there. You don't have anyone warmed up.
Yeah,
Warm someone up, then go talk to him. And Vince Velasquez fucking stinks, by the way. He absolutely stinks. I don't even want him in my bullpen anymore. He's terrible.
Well, when he got pulled after 2 2/3 innings, do you think he deserved to get pulled? Would you have preferred to see? I think
Kapler was stoned or something and forgot he went out the first time.
I don't know how you do that.
He forgot the rules. He forgot that if you had to, that has to be it. That has to be it. What other explanation is there?
Well, you know what? In spring training, Aaron Boone forgot to get somebody warmed up, and he made Dellin Betances pitch 1 2/3 innings.
That's a spring game.
I know. That's bad, though. That's bad.
That's bad, but it's spring. And like you said, you got first world problems out there in New York.
Well,
I'm not going to feel bad when we're watching
our manager
this
made
slop.
some real bad decisions this weekend too, which we will get to. But I mean,
yeah, but
not the catastrophic.
You're being
not the
this
catastrophic.
Guy doesn't even. Our guy doesn't even know the fucking rules.
Yeah, that's bad. No, that's.
He forgot he went out there. I'm convinced that's what happened.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And if that's what happened, he shouldn't dance around it in the post. Just say, hey, I forgot I went out there once. I really messed up. My fault. Definitely won't happen again.
Oh, he's not going to do that. He's another one of these worm type guys that won't ever take the blame for anything. He'll try to pass the blame to somebody else.
Who's to blame?
Oh,
besides him.
It is him.
Or Klentak for hiring
well, Klentak's is another mental case, but Gabe Kapler should not be a big league manager. I mean, he's just completely I mean, when you have an announcer,
the players.
When you have an announcer saying, "I really feel," the Braves announcers said on Saturday night. I heard the Brave announcer said, "I really feel sorry for Philly fans having to watch this guy manage right now." I mean, Joe Simpson said it. How in the world? And that's bad. I mean, because usually you don't broadcasters when they're playing each other in the same game. And Joe Simpson's been around for years, Rob.
Yeah.
For him to actually make a comment like that I feel bad for Philly fans to have to watch this guy manage.
Especially like
that's horrible to say.
The umpire saying that he did a bad job. That's bad.
Yeah.
Because these baseball guys, especially these old-time baseball, it's a fraternity. They try and stick up for each other. They say, oh, well, maybe, he's doing this. Keith Hernandez, Buck Martinez, Ray Fosse.
Listen,
they'll call him an idiot.
Keith Hernandez is kind of a tough guy, and he calls people out on the carpet all the time. But like Joe Simpson is not Joe Simpson, the guy who announces the Braves. He's a kumbaya type of announcer. Everybody's wonderful.
I wouldn't say I'm familiar with his attitude or his mindset.
Everybody's wonderful. If you've ever watched Brave games on TBS, everybody's wonderful with that guy. And I've watched enough Oakland A's games. Ray Fosse never has anything bad to say about anybody. And the fact that he ripped him, I mean, that shocked me. Buck Martinez is another one. Buck Martinez doesn't usually have a bad thing to say about anybody either, and he was ripping him. So I mean, he was talking about the fact that he thought the Yankees had a quick hook yesterday with Sonny Gray because he threw 81 pitches and they took him out. But they were 81 hard pitches, and then he made a comment. He said, "Well, I guess Aaron Boone can take him out since Kapler took Nola out after 68 pitches." And then the other guy started laughing. He said, "It's not funny in Philadelphia. Trust me. They're up to their wits' end already with this guy."
Dion Brown's in the house. What up, fellas? Had to chime in and say the pitching will be the death of this team. Plus, the manager needs to make way better decisions. Well put, Dion. And
yeah,
I tried telling the folks in our preview show that this pitching staff wasn't good.
Well, we know
81 and
know.
81 is a pipe dream for this team.
Yeah, 70.
Not to mention all the games that this manager looks like he's gonna lose.
75 wins is gonna be tough for this team.
Well,
even
I told you it was part of my prediction post.
I
Phillies under 78.5, and I had the White Sox.
When can we expect to see Mr. Arrieta take the mound?
I haven't heard anything. He's in AAA, still getting ready.
Maybe April 8th.
I mean, he doesn't really.
Maybe Saturday.
I would expect he would pitch on the. Maybe he'll pitch the home opener.
Okay, when's the home opener? Friday? Would that be Friday,
Thursday,
Saturday, Thursday?
Thursday afternoon, I believe it is.
They might give him. If he pitches tomorrow, they probably would give him 4 days rest, and he might. I bet he probably pitches by Saturday. That would be my
Let's
guess.
leave him down there and make sure he's ready while this guy cuts his teeth a little bit and makes an idiotic decision with him.
Yeah.
Dion Brown, the crazy thing is that if the Phils go on a hot streak, we'll forget about this conversation, LOL. It's April, we'll see. If not, then changes need to be made ASAP. I mean, if he did something like, he subbed a guy in and he let up a home run and they lost, okay, fine. Like, that happens.
That's baseball.
Not every move.
That's baseball.
But, I mean, this guy doesn't even know the rules. He doesn't even know that you have to take the pitcher out after a second mound visit. He doesn't have a guy warmed up. He doesn't lead with his best. Your best 8 players should be your opening day lineup.
Your best 8 players should be on the field at all times, unless you're resting them. but you're not resting him the first
Or there's
series.
a severe, some guy just rips the opposing starter
Right.
on your bench. Something crazy.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't like doing that till, 15, 20 games in?
Yeah, if somebody needs a rest.
You got to let these guys get in a rhythm.
Oh, I agree. You keep taking him in and out of the game. Baseball is a game that's played every day. These guys are used to playing. Everyday players are used to playing every day. When you start taking them in and out of the lineup,
And then
you mess up their timing. You mess up their bats, especially early in the season. You got to let them play.
I'm ready for Kingery every day at third base.
You already had enough of Franco.
Kingery has to play. It's not that I hate Franco. Kingery has to play.
What are you going to
Matt
do with
Klintak, you want to be a big genius and get this guy. You told me that you think this guy's a stud with that contract.
Yes, you did. Yes,
You
did.
can't not give him 550 to 600 plate appearances. You can't not do it.
No, he has to be out
He's
there every day.
you've told me he's the future of this franchise. More so than Franco, more so than Crawford, more so than Herrera. Nola hasn't gotten a big contract yet. This guy has. Not saying it earned because he's mashed the last 2 springs. He's mashing up in the big leagues. Great. Put him at third base every day because Cesar Hernandez can't be taken out of the lineup.
No, he's too good a hitter.
I kind of got on his case. And,
but
and
he's
Tom,
too good a
Tom
hitter.
had to hop on and set me straight a little bit. But he's too good to sit. So Franco's the odd man out. Unless Franco wants to go on a power surge and you put him at third, Kingery at second, and then see what Cesar can do at shortstop. Because I've never been. I mean, we've been on the air together for 3 years now
Yes.
at different outlets. I've never been a JP Crawford guy.
No, I know you have never supported him.
I just
never
don't. I don't
supported-
get it with
Well,
him. I don't
can
see
Kinga replay shortstop?
it. Jeez, I don't know.
Shortstop's a tough position. I mean,
with Gabe Kapler, anything's possible.
yeah, well,
James Wilder, the Jays. The Jays versus Sox broadcast. Sorry, autocorrect. The Jays did broadcast today is still slaying Kapler and the Phillies. Okay, so I got it out. Some spelling mistakes there from James, but yeah, they're still ripping
in Toronto.
Kepler in Toronto.
I told you, Buck Martinez was just tearing him up.
But this is like a fraternity. For him to be getting buried like this by his peers, that's alarming to me.
That's bad.
Because
bad.
I mean, your boy Aaron Boone, he might have screwed up. I know you didn't like even though the game got snowed out today. I know you didn't really like the.
I was very annoyed.
You didn't
with
really
the way
like the lineup.
The way I didn't like the lineup yesterday. I thought it was ridiculous. When Tyler Austin hits 2 home runs on Saturday, why is he on the bench on Sunday? Can somebody
Again, first world problems.
No, but can somebody please explain to me why you take a guy out of the lineup? Greg Bird got hurt, so you put Tyler Austin at first base. He hits 2 home runs for you, and you take him out of the lineup? Why? Because you want Tyler Wade to play second base, and you want to put Neil Walker at first and get Miguel Andujar his first at-bats as a DH.
Tyler Wade's parents probably complained to the coach, so he put him in for a couple ABs to get his parents off his back.
I don't understand.
That's the world we live in now, Brad.
I mean, I don't get
Everyone's got to get a chance.
But
Everyone's
Rob,
got to get a turn.
If it was the Phillies, you wouldn't be mad if one of your guys got hurt and then your replacement comes in and it's 2 home runs and then he's not in the lineup the next day.
I would be pissed if I were Tyler Austin.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Tyler Austin is a good hitter. If you remember when Bird got hurt, I said to you, Austin is not Greg Bird, but he's not bad. He won't hurt you with the bat. You know, I mean, he's a decent hitter. He's not a 300 hitter, but he'll give you 250, 260, and he's more than capable of hitting 15 to 20 home runs. For a guy off the bench, that's not a bad player off the bench.
No, not at all.
No, I mean, listen, you don't want him to be your everyday first baseman for the whole season, but he can fill in for a month and give you 5-6 home runs and drive in about 15, 20 RBIs. I mean, he's a pretty good hitter, especially if you have him batting ninth. I mean, if this is who you're having batting ninth, not bad. Not bad at all. And by the way, I do have to say this. Brandon Drury is a player.
That was a good pickup. I told you that
He
was a
is-
good pickup the second it happened.
He is a player.
He's a
That
great
guy
utility man.
he can flat out hit. I mean, no question about that.
Bob Brinkman, Kapler is doomed. Anytime you bring in someone from the outside of the organization, the guys that got passed over are not going to help. No respect. They will let him make mistakes. Well, I mean, apparently there was a big meeting after the 15-2 loss. And allegedly, from some of the beat writers on Twitter, the players aren't happy with Gabe Kapler. Odubel Herrera was pretty upset that he wasn't in there on opening day. Deservingly so. I mean,
Well, that matters to a lot of players.
He's an all-star. It's a respect thing.
Yeah. I
That's why you
understand
see.
that.
That's why you see, a guy like Justin Verlander start on opening day,
Oh,
even if he had a
absolutely.
7 ERA the last season, because
Yeah,
he's Justin
because
Verlander.
he's Justin Verlander.
He's earned that
Exactly.
respect.
Exactly.
And
By the way, according to Pootie Tang, Mr. Kapler has his lineups planned out several days in advance.
how can you do that? That is so Chip Kelly. Because he goes into his office before the game, he writes it down, and then that's it. That's the plan.
I mean, are you kidding me? That's not managing. That's not being a manager. You manage based on your feel
He's
for
not
the
a
game.
player's manager.
He's an idiot.
He's not a player. He's not
He's
a player
an
manager.
idiot.
That's why Dave Roberts got the Dodgers job out of nowhere, because none of the players like Gabe Kapler. These are reports after a disastrous start for Gabe Kapler as the manager. It seems like the only moron that was willing to give Gabe Kapler a chance in baseball was my boy Matt Klintak, who I think's a stone moron.
Well, I think we've kind of established that, and he's kind of proven again and again that he has no clue. He knows how to get a couple of free agents here, but anybody could sign a free agent, Rob. Anybody could go out and give Santana money. Anybody could go out and give Arrieta money. Anybody can do that.
And I like those signings. They're
I
fine
like the
signings.
I like the signings too, but I'm just saying anybody could go out and spend the money and bring in a couple of players. How about his drafting? How about making a couple of real
They pick
sharp
an outfielder
trades?
every year.
Yeah. How about some sharp trades to improve the team? I mean, instead of having 50 outfielders and not really knowing who's going to play second and short and third, and every day you have a different line. I mean, what kind of stupidity is that?
Joshua DeJesus. This guy sucks. We are already the laughingstock of the MLB. That's a concerning thing to me, is that Gabe Kapler's peers in the game of baseball, veteran baseball minds, are just absolutely burying this guy.
Yeah, well, the problem is when you have guys who are really baseball geniuses, as far as I'm concerned. I know they're not managers, but guys like Keith Hernandez, Ray Fosse, Buck Martinez, these guys are really smart baseball guys. Knocking Aaron Boone, not Aaron Boone. I'm sorry, knocking Gabe Kapler. Now I don't know about how the Yankee broadcasters what they said about it, because unfortunately on the baseball channel we got all the Toronto feed all weekend. I didn't get to listen to Michael Kay or David Cohn at all this weekend. So that's unfortunate. What are you gonna do?
Big Michael Kay fan.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate sometimes, but I had to hear those guys. But you know what? I have to tell you, I like the Toronto announcers because they call it like it is. They're homers, and they're not annoying homers. Like some teams, the announcers are just they're really hard. It's hard to listen to some of them. Remember the guy that used to do the Braves, Chip Callis, or not Chip? Chip Carey.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Harry Carey's son.
Yeah, he was painful to listen to. Guys like that just sit there and they're openly Ken Harrelson, Hawk Harrelson on the White Sox. These guys who are painful with their homerism.
Oh.
Guys like that, you shake your head. But they're pretty professional announcers. At least they tell it as it is. But when they're knocking a team from another league that they don't even play, that's not a good thing.
It's not good at all. And now they got to go up to New York. The game was snowed out today. So now with the let me think about this, because they were supposed to face both Syndergaard and DeGrom. They might miss DeGrom now.
Well, is Gazelman going to pitch as the fifth pitch? Probably not. They'll probably skip him.
I think they'll skip him, especially with the snow out.
Yeah, with the
So it
extra.
wasn't even a rain out today. It was a snow
out, yeah.
on
No, I
April
know.
2nd. You got to be kidding me.
I know. But yeah, you might. Oh boy,
The Mets look good over the point I'm getting to is the Mets look good over the weekend.
They look real good, and they're gonna
Cespedes
be-
looks like he means business.
and they're going to be getting. They're going to be getting
Conforto
Conforto back very soon. Probably Thursday.
Unlike the Phillies, Mickey Callahan from the bench coach of the
Callaway.
Mickey Callaway, excuse me.
That's okay.
He looks like he really knows what he's doing.
His lineups aren't crazy stupid
They're
lineups.
aggressive. They're aggressive on the base paths without stealing bases. He lets his horses pitch.
Yeah.
He lets Cespedes.
He's not over managing.
He hits
the team.
Cespedes in the 2-hole.
That's okay though.
Ahmad Rosario, hot shot prospect they have at shortstop, is a stud.
Oh, he's not a bad player.
Not at
not a
all.
bad-
He's gonna be a superstar.
He's not a bad player. I mean, I told you they got some guys who can hit the ball. The Mets.
We'll see if Adrian Gonzalez and Todd Frazier can keep this up over. I mean, they're older players. We'll see what they have in them over a 162 game season. But I mean,
I don't know about
based on
Adrian Gonzalez. I don't know about Adrian
based on the
Gonzalez. I think
first-
Frazier will be okay though.
based on what I saw the first weekend, the Mets are a shoo-in for second place in this division.
Well, unless something shocking happens, maybe the Atlanta Braves are for real. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they are, but they certainly
I
look.
think they're on the right track.
Yeah,
but
they
I
they
don't
look
think they're this
they
year.
look like a much
They're
better.
Finished third, and the Phillies.
They look like-
Miami is battling.
They look like a much better team than I expected to see. The Braves. No doubt. I don't like their pitching, but they can hit.
Miami took 2 or 3 from the Cubs over the weekend.
Yeah, how
Phillies
bad.
better be careful they don't finish last. I thought that was going to be impossible with the Marlins in the state that they're in, but I'm not so sure anymore with this manager and this bullpen. I mean, who knows how long Neshek's going to be out for, and Tommy Hunter still hasn't pitched. Hector Neris stinks.
Why wouldn't he get Tommy Hunter an inning?
Tommy
in
Hunter
these
is
3
hurt.
games.
Tommy Hunter's on the DL.
Oh, he's on the DL.
Correct. Yeah. And Neshek is now on the DL. Yeah, so he can't play. He can't play these Mickey Mouse matchups when you're got a bad bullpen and a bullpen when you're not working with a full deck.
They're in a tough spot. They're in a tough spot.
It's
And
ridiculous.
This is more. I think it's more on
But
Clint
Brad,
Tech.
they get to extra innings and they don't have pitchers left.
Well, that's the manager's fault. You can't be taking guys out. The only reason that you would take guys, move pitchers the way this guy does, is if you're bringing in a lefty to pitch to a lefty or a righty to pitch to a righty. I'll excuse that because that's by the book baseball. I don't have any problem with that. If the Phillies would have brought in a lefty to face Nick Markakis the other night, okay, didn't Nick Markakis get the big hit that one game?
He had a walk-off in the 10th on opening
Right,
day.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If he would have brought in a lefty to face Markakis, I'd be okay with that.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's baseball. That's what you do. But if you're just bringing in one righty after another, or one lefty after another,
But these
that's
guys
just
aren't even
stupid.
good. It's not even
But
they're
that's
bringing
even-
in studs.
but
Like
that's
the
even-
Yankees, they have Robertson. They have I know you don't like Betances, but Chapman. They got all these guys that can just get guys out. I know I'm missing a few out there in their
Canley
bullpen.
and Green are pretty good too. But
They are.
I mean, listen, we had a couple of meltdowns this weekend, but again, I think that I didn't like Aaron Boone's decision to not pitch to Josh Donaldson. A guy who's got a banged
Yeah,
up
but the
shoulder.
Yankees are going to win 100 games this year.
Don't be so sure about that.
I'm sure.
American
of it.
League the American League East is pretty competitive. It's not that bad. I mean, Toronto. If you look at Toronto, they've got pretty good pitching. I mean, 1 through 4. If you look at that team between Happ, Estrada, Stroman, and Aaron Sanchez, that is not a bad pitching staff. That is not bad starting pitching. And the guy in the back end, Osuna, is a very solid closer. Now, I'm not sure about the Blue Jays bullpen. Other than Osuna, I'm not sure that anybody out there you could really trust. Ryan Tempora is pretty good, but the rest of them are not really. I mean, you got guys like Tyler Clippard out there who I think stink, but
Yeah, Tyler Clippers.
Tyler Clippard stinks. But that team, they got some hitters on the team. They're not. They should finish third in that division. They really should.
I'm not impressed with Tampa Bay or Baltimore at all.
No.
So I mean,
Baltimore will outslug teams on when it's their night. But Baltimore's pitching after Dylan Bundy, their pitching staff is just
you're right there.
a mess.
We get the hiccups.
I think I had a little indigestion from.
Oh boy. Too
Yeah.
many stadium dog. You've been to no, they
Haven't been
over
to the stadium yet.
No.
They haven't had any Friday games in Yankee Stadium yet. This Friday we got Baltimore, so I'll be there for that.
Gina
that
Rambo,
game.
what up, fellas? What up, Gina? James and Dion, what up? Don't. Okay. Doug Peterson's going to throw out the first pitch at the home opener.
As he should. It's too bad he can't get out to the mound.
So you might start him. Put him in the
may,
bullpen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can he?
He's a
Can
former
he,
QB.
can he warm up?
If he gets to, someone's got to tell him.
Well, let me ask you a
Well,
question.
I guess the bullpen has to be just.
Does Doug have any baseball experience? Does he know anything about managing baseball?
I mean, the guy they have now doesn't.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, maybe Doug has some baseball IQ too.
Gina Rambo, I don't think I'll eat crow anytime soon. Kapler's gotta go. I mean,
Not after
I do
3
agree.
games.
I do agree with Greg.
I feel
Milikovic.
I feel your pain, Philly fans, but
you
can't fire a guy after
3
3 games.
3 games.
Listen,
If this nonsense is still going on at the All-Star break, what do you do?
if this nonsense is going on by Memorial Day, he could be gone. Because if it gets to a point where
And the second,
the fans hate him and nobody's showing up to the games by June, he could be gone. That could happen, but it's not going to happen.
That would make me
at
happy
earliest.
because Clintack will be right behind him.
Well, that could happen, but it's not going to happen until at least June.
Well, I want Clintack fired before the draft.
You know what?
I don't want him picking a player
You might get
at
your
all.
wish there. You
at
might,
all.
You might get your wish there. You might. I mean, that's definitely a distinct possibility. If Kapler continues to embarrass the city of Philadelphia and their fan base
The
way
Phillies
he
have
has,
had some god awful managers.
yeah, but
they've
this
had
guy
some-
is,
they've had some-
but this guy is really
He doesn't even know the rules.
this guy's a clown. I understand that some of their managers haven't been very good, but you did have, over the years you've had Terry Francona, who was a good manager, but
Terry Francona, they
never
have no
got-
talent.
he never had a chance because they never gave him anybody to play with.
And
Charlie
Scott Rowland.
Emanuel was a very good manager, but the team got old.
Yeah.
And
Charlie did.
Charlie
Charlie
was,
killed it,
yeah,
man.
Charlie was a very good manager.
Yeah, but look at Charlie. Charlie, he chews
Pete
his bubble
McCann-
gum in the dugout. He fills out the same lineup card every day.
Yeah, Pete McCann.
He looks at it logically. Oh, well, look at this. I have so-and-so on my bench.
You had Ryan Sandberg and then Pete McCann.
Sandberg was bad.
Yeah, Sandberg was a great player,
I
but
almost forgot about him.
yeah, you had Sandberg who had no clue how to manage a team. He really should have been a coach first. And then you had McCann, who was basically Clintack's yes man. That's all he was. He was just basically a rubber stamp.
McCannon was a good manager. He managed some really not so talented teams.
Then why isn't he managing now? Why did they fire him after
Because
last year?
Clintack has his guy in now.
But this guy's a moron.
Well, Clintack's a moron.
Yeah, obviously. I mean,
If Pete McCannon was the manager of this team over the weekend, I think they're at least 2-1.
I don't think there's anything he could have done about the 13-2 game. I think sometimes you get games like that
What
happen.
do you mean, Brad? They lost 15-2 because the bullpen was ill prepared in the third inning.
Well,
They got shelled. They
yeah,
got
but
caught off
if
guard.
Vince
Nobody
Velez-
told them what was going on.
But if Vince Velasquez gets bombed, is that necessarily the bullpen's fault? Well, I mean, it is. I'm just saying, is it the manager's fault if the starting pitcher gets bombed in the third inning?
That's fine. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
but
that's
don't
what
tell
I'm
me.
saying.
Don't tell me that bullpen being caught off guard and Nobody knowing
No,
what's going on the Phillies
that
from
was
a
bad.
strategic standpoint
That was
didn't
bad.
have anything to do with that 15-2
Yeah,
loss
no,
because it had
that-
a lot to do with that 15-2
That was bad, but that was
loss.
more Velasquez than it was anything else. But game one was definitely the
Pete
manager.
McCannon wins that game. Pete McCannon wins game 2 as well.
Well, they won. Yeah, they won game 2. But I mean, yeah, I agree with you.
Right, so they're 2-1 with McCannon.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, I can't blame Kapler when Velasquez gets bombed. That's not his fault. I mean, he's got to put somebody out there, and I guess that was the he was the choice. I mean, that's going to be the problem with the Phillies. 3, 4, and 5 all year this year is going to be a roll of the dice.
And it's bad. Arrieta's not even here yet.
Yeah, I mean,
Gina
right now it's
Gina Rambo. If this BS goes up until the All-Star game, that would be pretty sad. That would be sad, and something would have to be done if it's going on that long. I think you're right about Memorial Day.
I think if they're showing signs of life, Memorial Day, Kapler keeps his job. If they're showing no signs of life and nobody's at the ballpark,
but you want to
Memorial
compare.
Day,
You want to
he's
compare Kapler to McCannon. I mean, if McCannon was the manager of this team, it would have been by far the most talented team that McCannon ever had.
Yeah, I mean, they never even gave him a chance. It would be what they did to McCannon. It would be similar to what the Sixers if the Sixers fired Brett Brown after last year without ever giving him after all the crap they gave him to coach, and then when he finally's got some good players to coach, not give him a chance to at least coach the team. That wouldn't have been fair. And that's basically what they did with McCannon, which wasn't right. If you're giving a guy players with no talent, you got to when you finally get some talent. I mean, it's just like with the Mets with Terry Collins. Okay, Terry Collins coached that.
I mean, what were the Phillies last year? 38 and 37. Few games over 500.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
were after the All-Star break last year.
I don't understand why you would have fired McCannon when they played well in the second half of the season. Obviously, they were still playing hard for him.
He doesn't use analytics.
Well,
it doesn't fit.
Analytics doesn't win games.
I mean,
it doesn't win games though.
Right, but at some point,
managerial skill, and this is my problem with Joe Girardi.
I'm just telling you, McCannon was a holdover. He was here on the staff and got promoted to manager before Clintack was here. It was only inevitable that McCannon was going to get, forced out, and Clintack was going to get to pick his guy.
Which to me was a big mistake. I mean, that was my problem with Joe Girardi, Bob. That's what Joe Girardi was. He had no feel for the game. He was sitting around looking at the binder all the time, not making sound managerial decisions, just looking at statistics. And if a guy is 0 for 5 against somebody, but he's red hot, he's having a hot weekend. He's like 13 for 20 in a series, and he's hitting the hell out of the ball.
You think Bobby Cox would have taken Greg Maddux out in the mid 90s after 68 pitches in the fifth inning?
No.
Do you think Joe Torre would have taken, I don't know, Roger Clemens out with 68 pitches?
No. Oh, Roger Clemens may have killed him.
Roger Clemens may have killed him. I was grasping for
Roger, that would be dangerous.
Mike Mussina, he was a good one.
Mike Mussina would have looked at him like, huh?
Pettit.
Yeah, exactly. He's another one.
Like even look at the man. Like Mike Scioscia's not doing that.
No. The only one of the Yankees that they pull early with pitch count is CeCe, but CeCe is old and they're being real careful with his innings because they like to see him not get hurt this season. But so you could excuse that. But when it comes to pitchers, you pitch them until they start getting hit. That's when you take them out, and usually they start getting hit around 100 pitches. But you know what? If they're in there and they're still pitching well, you don't have to take them out of the game.
No. And if Noah scuffles a little bit and then all of a sudden it's 5-2, I mean,
then you take him out.
Right.
But not when he's in complete command after 5 1/3 innings, and then all of a sudden you take him out? What kind of crap is that? It's ridiculous. Listen, Gabe Kapler at this point, I don't know. At this point,
wait till the media.
He's going to lose.
Bob Brinkman, wait till the media gets on. I mean, it's only going to get worse when the media gets on Kapler.
Well, just
Really
wait till
good.
he starts ducking news conferences because he's not going to want to talk to the media because they're going to be blasting the hell out of him.
I mean, he
'Cause
got
in this
I mean,
town,
I don't
in this
know. I don't
town-
know which members of the press corps travel with the team and which ones don't. But they haven't had a home game yet.
Oh, just wait.
Like I'm just saying,
Just wait. Listen,
his explanation.
There are
after-
three-
His press conference after that 15-2 game
Rob,
was
there are
psychotic.
there are 3 cities that you better be able to stand up to the media and deal with the media and not sound like a moron in: Philadelphia, Boston, and New York. If those 3 cities you sound like a moron, they are going to run you out of town.
And Kapler
And
is
he is
well
going to
on-
get
well on
he
his way.
he is. Let's put it this way: he's already halfway to the train. Okay, I mean that's how close he is. That's how close he's already halfway. He's probably if he's going to 30th Street Station, he's already on 15th Street. Okay, and it's only 3 games. The Phillies need to not make a mockery of themselves against the Mets this week, and he needs to just manage the team like a normal manager and stop acting like a moron and trying to put his signature on the game. I
But
mean,
this is what Clintack hired him to do because he's an analytics nerd too.
but having a manager make his signature so strongly on every game is not going to get you win. I mean, Bobby Valentine used to do that, and that was and I mean, it worked for a while with the Mets, but you know what? It got old with the Mets too. I mean, the reason it worked for Bobby Valentine was because back in the day, the Mets had Mike Piazza and that group, and that was a very good team. Okay, but eventually he wore out his welcome too when he tried putting, when he double switched Piazza out of a game in the 6th, 7th inning. The fans were irate. It's just doing stupid things like that is what gets you fired, and it gets you fired fast. And Clintack, if you're going to be doing, if your manager is doing stuff like that, you're gonna be going with him. Very simple. This is not a town that you can afford to keep doing stuff and looking like a moron. You're not gonna stay here for long. Not in this town.
I mean, Joe Girardi went to the ALCS. He got fired for being a moron.
Well, let's be honest. Okay, what he did with that incident with Sanchez when the ball hit the knob of the bat, and Sanchez told him to replay it, and Girardi turned his back on him, and made him look like a fool on national TV. That was to me that was a fireable offense right there. But Joe Girardi was the king of leaving relief pitchers in to just get slaughtered when it was obvious that they didn't have it, and he would just let them lose the game instead of making one more move. That was Joe Girardi all over. And that's not something that's good either. So I mean, you have to find a happy medium. If you see a relief pitcher is not effective, you have to take him out. But if he gets 2 outs and then you're just bringing in another pitcher because, hey, this pitcher has slightly better numbers than another one, you're going to wear out your bullpen and you're not going to have anybody fresh for the next game. Because remember, in baseball today, for the most part, relief pitchers don't pitch more than 2 days in a row.
Usually.
You don't usually see them pitching 3 days in a row. It doesn't happen all that often. And if they pitch 3 days in a row, they are definitely not pitching 4 days in a row.
No.
So, I mean, you can't do that with guys every day. The guys
he uses his whole deck every night.
But you can't do that.
He does.
I know he does, but you can't do that. You're going to have everybody's going to be on the DL.
Go tell him. Somebody's got to tell him. Where's the bench coach? Where's the bullpen coach?
Well, you know what?
What are you doing, Chief?
I would bet you that Gary Denbo, who, as I said, was the Yankees bench coach last year, I would guarantee you that he's probably telling Kapler that, and Kapler's not listening to his coaches. I think that guy has such a big ego that he thinks he's trying to recreate the wheel.
He likes to oil up his big muscles, and all the girls look at him and think he's cute. And it's going. I'm telling you, this coconut oil, whatever he puts on himself, it's seeped into his brain.
Yeah, well, he's
half Stunad, if he's not full Stunad.
Yeah, he's clueless right now.
And I hate. It makes my blood boil when say, "Oh yeah, everyone hated Doug Peterson early in the season. You got to give him a chance." No, Doug Peterson knew the rules of football. Doug Peterson had a
What
good team.
what questionable thing did Doug Peterson really do? He may have made a couple of questionable calls as far as play
going
calling.
for it. He got killed when they went for it on 4th down against the Giants.
Okay,
4th
yeah.
and 8 before the half, which whatever. I mean, whatever. Okay.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with showing some confidence in your quarterback.
He didn't think they were gonna get. He didn't think they were 5 downs.
No,
When he went to it on
he
when
didn't.
he went to him 4th down.
No, he wasn't doing it because he was going to go for it on 5th
He
down.
threw the ball way too much against the Chiefs, and they ended up losing.
But that was just one game.
Okay.
That's one game. It happened, and you know what? What
And
did
it's only
he
3
learned
games.
from? And he learned
this is
from
only
it.
3 games. I get it. It's only 3 games. It's not enough to determine, but boy, he's well on his way. Derek Smith should have given Dusty the job. Absolutely not. I mean, he's probably better than this guy, but Dusty Baker, he never won nothing in his. He's never won anything. I mean, he had a good run. He had a good run when he had Bonds, but I mean, I could have had a good run being the manager of the Giants when Barry Bonds was.
And Jeff Kent.
Yeah, I mean, Barry Bonds.
And Jeff Kent. Jeff Kent may not make the Hall of Fame, but did he
ever
close.
win? He never even won a playoff series with the Nationals. But I mean,
is that really his fault, or is that just that team choking all the time?
It doesn't.
That team just found different ways to choke, and they found different ways to choke with different managers. Rob.
Understood.
Okay, I mean, it started before. Who was their manager before Matt Williams? Do you remember?
Matt Williams.
Yeah, they brought in Matt Williams, but I can't remember who the manager was before Matt Williams. But
Matt Williams was terrible.
But they had a manager who they kept choking. Then they brought in Matt Williams, and they choked with him. Then they bring in Dusty Baker, and then they choke with him. But I mean,
Pete Mackanin should be the manager of this team right now.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious that there was no reason to fire Pete Mackanin. I mean, he basically, their team played probably as well as their talent would allow them to play. They didn't underachieve. They didn't overachieve. They were right on where they probably should have been last year.
They weren't good.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they weren't good.
If you have a manager, okay, if your team overachieves, then he's really a good manager. If your team plays exactly what you would expect their talent to be, then he's an okay manager. If they're a lot worse than the talent is, that's when that's a fireable offense. Okay, he's making the Phillies right now look like a minor league
And like
team.
I said, the most concerning thing about this whole saga is his peers amongst Major League Baseball are telling him he's an idiot openly and
without any problem. Yeah.
Umpires, announcers, former managers, ball players, nobody knows what this guy's doing. Sometimes when a guy's struggling, to say, "Oh, well, I played with him in the '80s, and he really knows. We just give him a chance." Not with this guy. I guess he didn't make many friends when he played in the league.
He wasn't good.
I mean, he was good enough to be a major leaguer for multiple seasons.
Yeah, but he wasn't a real good player. I mean, he was a scrub. I mean, he hung around for a while.
He's still a professional.
No, I
athlete.
understand.
There's still a certain level of.
No, I know. I'm just saying you're not talking about a guy who was like Matt Williams was a real good player. Ryan Sandberg was a real good player.
Right.
Pete
Sandberg,
Mackanin,
one of the second basemen ever.
Pete Mackanin was a pretty good player. He wasn't a great player, but he was a better player than Gabe Kapler ever was. But I mean, even so, I mean, Buck Showalter never played Major League Baseball at all. At least Buck Showalter knows the game.
He's a competent manager. I wouldn't call him a good manager. Buck Showalter definitely knows that the second mound visit.
Oh yeah.
By
well,
rule, you
let
have
me
to
ask you a
take the guy
question
out.
about Buck Showalter. Has Buck Showalter ever really had a good pitching staff in Baltimore?
Never.
Okay, so
and the poor guy just misses everywhere.
Yeah, I mean it's not. It's really not his fault.
Because then the year they fired him in Arizona, they got Schilling and Johnson and won the World Series.
Right.
He was the manager in 1995 for the Yankees.
Exactly.
And then Torrey came along.
But you know what? They wouldn't have won with Showalter.
Right, because
he's a very anal manager. He's just hard to stomach. He's not for everybody.
He had Chris Davis lead off too, which is
yeah. I mean,
don't understand that.
He wasn't. You know what though? he wasn't doing that last year. I mean, I just wonder if maybe the general manager made him do that, because last year he had he had the guy that they got from Tampa Bay. Now his name escapes me. The shortstop. They had him. They had him leading off. Beckham, yeah. They had Beckham leading off, and they had Manny Machado batting second. And now all of a sudden you're putting Chris Davis second. Now that I don't quite understand. That's almost as bad as Judge leading off. And you can tell me anything you want. Aaron Judge leading off is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I'm sorry. You got to have.
It only matters once through the lineup.
Well, you know what? Here's my other problem. Brett Gardner is a base stealer, okay? Why would you put Aaron Judge behind Brett Gardner when if Brett Gardner is on base and Aaron Judge is up, Brett Gardner is not moving from that base, because if Aaron Judge hits a home run, it's 2 runs instead of 1.
Agreed.
What's your
point? I don't understand.
My point is you put Drury up second, okay? Who's an average hitter. You can play a little small ball and maybe get a couple of guys on base.
You want to play small ball with that lineup in New York? What are you, nuts?
You can't. Listen, you can play if you have Walker batting ninth. Okay.
Look, I'm a traditionalist when it comes to baseball.
I'm just asking you.
I mean, come on.
Let me ask you a question. Okay.
You're going to put Drury second so you can play small ball? You're out of your mind.
Hear me out. If you have Neil Walker batting ninth, okay, and you have Gardner batting first, and you have Drury batting second, you can have Gardner steal some bases. You could play a little hit and run with Drury, and then you have runners on first and third and nobody out, and then Judge is up.
Brad, the Yankees don't need to hit and run and play those bullshit games to score runs. You don't need to do that.
But you can't live on just home runs alone.
The Phillies did it for 5 years in a row, and we're just fine.
Yeah, the Yankees did it too, and I understand that. But
and this lineup makes the 08 Phillies that the Yankees have this season. It makes it look like a little league team.
Yeah, but
that was a good lineup the Phillies had. I'm not taking anything away from them. But Judge, Sanchez, Stanton, Gregorius, Gardner. It's a shame that Bird's hurt, because that really could have been great. But
he'll be back, though. He'll be back probably by Memorial Day.
He's just going to get hurt again.
Yeah, hopefully not, but
he is.
He might.
If it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Yeah, it probably is.
He's going to get hurt.
You bring in a guy. Yeah, you bring in a guy like Drury who looks like the real deal, and Neil Walker is a good hitter. I told you I like Neil Walker.
Neil Walker's fine.
Neil Walker's a good hitter. He's fine for a number 9 hitter. I think he's fine. I mean, you're not asking him to bat fourth. You're not asking him to bat third. You're asking him to bat ninth, which to me, he's pretty good for a number 9 hitter.
But come on, hitting Drury second on that team, that's silly.
I would have him batting second, and then I would Judge, then Stanton, Sanchez, Gregorius. I think then you'd have
put those 3 righties in a row. That's not smart.
All right, then you can put Gregorius in the middle somewhere.
I already told you I would stack the Yankees. Judge, Gardner, Stanton, Gregorius, Sanchez, and then however.
But a guy like Gardner with his speed, you want him batting ahead of those guys. So when they rip doubles, he can score.
He's gonna score on plenty of Gregorius, Stanton, and Sanchez's doubles. And Judge gets on base more than him. You can't steal if you're not on base.
Well, yeah, but Gardner is always on base. Gardner's on base percentage is almost 400.
Well, whatever. You don't have to hit Judge. You got to split up. You can't have 3 righties like that in a row.
Okay.
I didn't like when the Phillies had Utley and Howard in the 3-4 hole with lefty, but it worked out for them because Worth could never.
Yeah,
Worth was only good because Howard was a menace and got all the fastballs because nobody wanted to pitch to Howard.
Right, and then Worth would be up with runners on base.
It worked out.
Yeah, and then they have to throw him fastballs.
But yeah, I mean, there's 3 righties in a row like that. I don't like that. Maybe that's a traditionalist in me, but I would find a way to split that up.
By the way, just so that you know, your Aaron Boone agrees with you because Gregorius was batting fourth this weekend.
That's a smart move, smart man.
So.
Aaron Boone's gonna be fine. He's driving the Cadillac. All right, we gotta take a break. Sports Hounds switching over to YouTube exclusively. Follow the links on A2D Radio Facebook page, my Facebook page, Brad's Facebook page. Give you a little preview. 20 minutes of tip-off. Nova Nation taking on the Michigan Wolverines. A champion will be crowned. We'll be back right after this.
Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
All right, welcome back. BMW of Atlantic City Studios, Sports Hounds, final hour brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, certified accountants, GibsonMayerLLC.com. It's tax time. They get all you need to know. Certified accountants, Gibson Mayer LLC has you covered. But, Brad, we got a national championship being decided in about 20 minutes here. And the Villanova, the only thing that I got right this bracket season was Villanova. Frank, you might win some coin here.
I am going to win some coin. I'm very excited. And
now you had both Villanova and Michigan?
No, I just had Villanova.
Okay.
But from what I'm looking at in one of the bracket challenges I'm doing, I could either finish second or third in this bracket pool I'm in. If I get third, I get 15% of the pot. If I get of money, the pot of money, not the green, not the other green stuff.
You mean the herbal essence?
Not the herbal essences, but
okay.
actual money.
Okay.
But I get 15% of the pot, and
You
then
win 15 Bitcoins.
15 Bitcoins
There you
if
go.
Nova loses. If Nova wins, I get 20% of the bit, which is about
20 Bitcoins.
About 20 Bitcoins,
So you
or
get
roughly
20
translated to nearly $400.
You mean 400 French fries?
400 French fries, yes. And then I actually did a little update. I know a while back we did the A2D radio bracket challenge, and one of our own is in the running to actually finish in the top two. Mr. Ryan Brodo. If Nova wins, he will finish in second place.
Who's winning the thing? Some outsider chump?
Let me check, because I didn't see who it was. It was really don't right now.
Is it too dark because you have your sunglasses on?
No. Let me just be
It's like
sure.
you're struggling to read the screen.
Nah, because it doesn't update, so I have to run like a scenario generator.
All right,
And
well,
let's
you know, I
see.
think if you're going to wear your
Frank's looking down.
you know, Frank,
But the only thing that I got right this college basketball season was that Nova was the real deal. They
Yes.
just,
Some
Yes.
person named Mercedes will win it.
of course.
But sweeps of agree to disagree will finish second if Michigan wins.
Frank, you know, really, if you're going to wear your sunglasses, I really would like to see you play "I Wear My Sunglasses at Night."
Yeah,
You know,
a
it's the
little
theme
bump.
song.
Well, we had to watch. We were
Yeah.
copyright law.
Oh, okay.
It would be nice,
yeah.
but
Okay. Oh, there you go.
yeah.
Be fined.
I don't know why I've been wearing my sunglasses in here. I know it's late at night.
It's okay because it's this is fine.
All right,
It's
so we're
fine.
live on YouTube.
It's bright in here, so it's all good.
You can listen if you want to be a rock star. It's okay. Nobody has a problem in this building right now.
Yeah, just
Is that
for
what they
the
do?
sake.
They wear sunglasses inside in Western Kentucky. what they do?
Not when I was working there, but
Participant in the Final Four of the NIT.
yeah, it was great.
That's good
Suck-
stuff. That's
Sucked
good
that they
notoriety.
lost, but I'll take it. I'll take
Yeah,
it
but
to
a
the
Final
semifinals.
Four in the NIT is not exactly.
Penn State beating Utah in the
Yeah.
final of that.
I'm glad that Penn State beat Utah. So
Penn
I'll take
State.
it.
Listen, Penn State made
You
a
got
statement.
beef with
They
Utah?
did. No, because we lost to Utah. So I won.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, so there's going to be a national – it's the only thing I got right this season with college basketball. My bracket was absolutely terrible. The only
Yeah,
thing
mine
I
was a
was
shambles
telling you,
as well.
telling you for weeks upon weeks was how good Villanova was. They actually
And you were right.
They dismantled
Oh, yeah.
Kansas in that final.
They have basically kind of walked right through this without any real adversity in the second half.
And Michigan is the first, not to take anything away from Michigan, but they're the first team ever. They haven't even played a top 4 seed yet.
Yeah,
The highest seed they've played is a 5.
it's
Well,
crazy.
If
I look
have
at
that-
Michigan,
If I have that correct.
you know, I look at Michigan, and you may find this ironic. I look at them the same way I looked at Villanova back in '85 when they played Georgetown.
I mean, come on, Villanova's not Georgetown.
Villanova is probably as good as Georgetown was that year. Right now, I
think?
yeah, I do.
That's an all-time great
But they didn't win.
dynasty. That's true. They didn't win.
They didn't win, and you know what? They beat St. John's by 30. I remember before when St. John's had those great teams with Chris Mullen. But I kind of look at Michigan as Villanova, and I look at Villanova as Georgetown. Michigan will have to play a perfect game and shoot the living daylights out of the ball they'll have to shoot like 60 to 70% in this game, and they will. And Villanova is going to have an off night in order for Michigan to lose. The margin of error for Michigan is like this. They've got to really play a perfect game because
Eli can do it though. He's an outstanding coach. 2 top 5 coaches in the country.
I understand that, but
going ahead.
he's up against it. Villanova is really been a good team.
Well,
I mean,
loaded.
listen, has it happened before? Yeah, I mean UNLV. I remember when they had those great teams with Greg Anthony and Larry Johnson.
Tarkanians,
with
bunch.
Tark's boys.
Tark the Shark.
Tark the
They
Shark.
ran right through the NCAAs, and all of a sudden,
Thanks, Christian
Duke
Leitner.
punched them in the stomach, and they didn't respond.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe that could happen, but I think that this team
anything
is.
can happen. Have you seen this tournament?
I
Loyola
understand that.
Chicago. Sister Jean was in the Final Four.
Right.
Yes, she was.
It's nuts.
And UMBC of all teams makes a just
beat
goes
Virginia.
Yeah, they beat the number 1 overall seed in Virginia. It's crazy.
And Tony Bennett's the coach of the year over Jay Wright. Explain that one to me.
I don't even know. I mean, when I was looking at it, when I made that wonderful video a couple weeks ago, leading up to the tournament, like I looked at Virginia's body of work. I mean, they definitely, when I looked at it, they were more deserving than Nova at the time.
You gotta watch them play, though. Frank.
Yeah.
You gotta watch.
I
them
mean,
play.
The eye test. The eye test
You're
is
turning
important.
into Gabe Kapler over here.
Yeah, I was looking at the eye test. I was watching both the ACC and the Big East title games, and just by look at it, I'm like, yeah, both teams are deserving of number 1, but who was more hungry for that number 1 overall? And I like Virginia better, but as that
Villanova
happened,
Villanova had to play some real good teams.
they did play some good teams, and of course Virginia played a very good North Carolina. They were fighting in there, but Virginia pulled away, and Villanova had to win in overtime. So that was the tough part.
Yeah, but
for me.
Villanova had Xavier in their.
They had Xavier. Seton Hall. They're always feisty.
Seton Hall is
Providence.
always good. Providence is good. You know, I mean, and in the tournament, I mean, listen, St. John's had their moment. They beat Duke and they beat Villanova in the same week, and they won at Marquette. I mean, there were a lot of very good competitive teams in the Big East.
Yeah.
I just think that they were more impressive by winning that tournament than Virginia was winning their tournament. You know, I mean, North Carolina was not that good this year.
They weren't good.
They fooled me.
But
I had them in the Final Four.
Yeah, they weren't as good.
They weren't as good as your typical Carolina team. You expect them to make a run, but at the same time, it's like, do they have the talent to make a legit run in the Final Four?
Bob, Nova gets off to their hot start. It's going to be hard for Michigan to recover. Yeah, if Villanova's going to shoot 55.
Yeah, Bob thinks that they're battle-tested Big East quality. Bob, I 100% agree with you. That was the point I was just making.
The Big East is a far better conference than the Big Ten.
Yeah, the Big East, every game.
Absolutely better.
Every game is tough. The rivalries in the Big East are just so mean. It's always been that way. It's a shame that a lot of teams have left the Big East. But you know what? Teams like Villanova, Seton Hall that have been there for years and years. That is not an easy conference. You know, and Xavier now has become a power. They were a number 1 seed.
Yeah, Xavier was the number 1 seed, and then they get upset by Florida State, which really surprised me because I know Xavier always. Maybe this was the year for Xavier to make it into the Final Four. They never made it to a Final Four, so maybe this was their year.
Really
I just think that the problem with Xavier was the fact that they got their rear ends destroyed by Villanova every time they played them this year, and I do think that had an effect on them in the tournament because I think they were always thinking, in the back of their minds, if we have to play Villanova, we're done.
Right.
If we have to play Villanova, we're done. And when you get your behinds beat like that 3 times by the same team, if you're saying to me it doesn't matter, bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bullshit. It does. It plays with your mind.
It does.
It's the same thing with the NFL when they have the NFL playoffs. And how many times do you see a team beat a team 3 times in the same year? Everybody says, "Oh, nobody beats a team 3 times." Oh, yes, they do. Usually
can
they
be done.
usually
They
they
already-
do.
They already did it twice.
Usually when you beat up a team, when you beat the living daylights out of a team twice during the season, you usually beat the daylights out of them again a
Right.
third time. There's no reason why you won't. There's a reason why you beat the daylights out of them the first 2 times. You know, because if one bad beating isn't enough, the second one the coach knows what happened, and tries to make adjustments, and it didn't work again. I mean, there's a reason for that. The other
Yeah.
team is just better.
Does Nova cover 7?
Yeah, I think
they
win.
cover.
I think they win
I
pretty
think
handily.
covers.
I think they
Cover
win by
7.
double digits.
Yeah, I could see 12 between a 12 and 14 point
Yeah,
victory.
I'm going with 12.
I would say they're
Mhm.
ahead. They're ahead by 7 at halftime.
Yeah.
And they slowly but surely pull away in the second half.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, I think Michigan will give them a little bit of a scare early in the second half.
Michigan
Maybe
plays really good defense.
They do.
yeah, they may.
And Kansas didn't hit any shots in that game.
Yeah, but that's because Villanova plays really good defense too.
And you also got to factor with Michigan. You
They
got
had looks in the first half.
You have
and
like
they didn't make any foul shots in the first half.
Well,
They buried themselves. quick
Villanova
with Kansas.
Villanova hit a lot of threes.
Right. They hit a lot of threes, but Kansas didn't do anything to help
Right.
themselves.
If Villanova is shooting well, there's no way this is a close game.
Yeah.
'Cause
And-
I don't think Michigan
no.
can score enough to make
I mean,
to
you-
beat this team.
I mean, if Nova finds a way to shut down Mo Wagner, I think that's it. If you shut down Wagner and Villanova did what they did on Saturday,
even if they
then,
don't, the other
yeah.
guys will not score enough to
Right.
beat that
it
team.
won't be enough.
Villanova has too many guys. They're too deep.
Yeah, I think
They're just
the
they're
bench
too
is
deep.
going to help Nova's case.
There's no way
in the
all those
national
guys have off
championship.
shooting nights at the same
No.
time. Jay Wright's just got to find the right mixture
Yeah.
that's clicking that night, and he did.
No, and
it
you know what?
isn't.
Attrition will eventually take its course in the second half. That's
Cream will rise.
Yeah, it will. I think early in the second half, I think they're going to take a nice lead. Villanova going into the half like 7. I think that early in the second half, you might see Michigan make a run and make it close, but in the end, Villanova will start to pull away. They'll wear them down, and Michigan will not be able to keep up. And
Right.
Villanova will probably win by between 12 and 14 points. That would be my prediction.
We're all in agreement. Villanova. Wouldn't
Definitely.
surprise me to see a tight one though.
I'd be
Wouldn't
surprised.
surprise me to
I'd be
see a tight
surprised.
one.
Villanova's a really. It's just they're
Michigan
a
plays
great
good.
team this year.
Michigan plays good defense.
Sixers JT is already you're a little late. Sixers JT. He's already not a fan of Coach Kapler.
Yeah, join the club, Sixers JT.
Yeah.
Uh,
If you want to, if you
good
like,
job.
you could call him by his correct name. That would be Krapler.
Chip Krapler,
Chip Krapler.
as our friend Ray Maffo says on Facebook.
Well, he calls him Chip Kapler. I call him Chip Krapler. I
we
think
know
that's it.
that's what we do. We build on ideas here at
Yes.
the Sports Town.
Yes,
we
we
take an idea, we make it better, and then we make it our own.
yes. Well, you remember my nickname for Jabba Chamberlain?
No, what was it?
Blow Jabba.
Good one.
Yes, and I just want to make
Was
sure
he
that
the-
everybody knows.
Was he the one that
I
always
made
got
that one
hurt?
up.
He always hurt his arm playing Guitar
yeah.
Hero.
No, that was
he hurt his,
Joel
he,
Zumaya
He hurt
was
his
the one.
Joel Zumaya.
Joel Zumaya.
No,
he
he hurt.
wasn't on the Yankees.
He hurt his
was
ankle.
He was
no,
a Ti- he was
Zumaya was
Tigers.
never on the Yankees.
Oh, Tigers. That's
yeah.
right.
Chamberlain hurt. Chamberlain
He
hurt. He broke his
forearm.
ankle. He broke his ankle stamping on moles with his kids. No, on a trampoline.
On a
no,
trampoline.
he broke his ankle playing on a
Is he,
trampoline
is he
with his
still in the
kids.
leagues, Jabba?
No, he's
No,
not.
he can't
Oh,
be.
jeez.
Yes.
He was terrible.
I forgot
He
about
was-
him
Sixers
in
JT, do you
years.
think the absence of Nishak and Tommy Hunter is the reason our bullpen isn't so hot? Nishak for sure. Tommy Hunter's okay, but I mean you're down 2 bullets in what's supposed to be the back end of your bullpen, and the way this guy goes through relievers, it's gonna rear its ugly head sooner rather than later. But
Somebody has to step up right now and come in and put out the fire for the Phillies. I mean, is there anybody in that bullpen that you think can do that right now?
no,
I mean, who do you think has a possibility to be able to step up and do that?
I'm not seeing anybody. Maybe someone can point. Frank, do you see anybody that can do that? in the bullpen.
I mean, is there anybody who can throw hard enough to go out there and maybe strike a couple of guys out and finish off a game?
I don't even know.
Tommy Hunter is that guy. He's
Tommy
on the
Hunter.
DL.
Tommy Hunter throws 100 miles an
And
hour,
Pat Neshek.
but he's wild. He's wild though.
I
and
could
it's-
see maybe Hector Neris.
Drew
I'm-
Hutchinson didn't look
Drew
bad. I
Hutchinson.
mean, come on, Sixers.
I mean, if you
Drew
need somebody
Hutchinson.
to jump over, I mean,
Drew
you
Hutchinson.
have Vince Velasquez. I mean, he can at least last an inning to close it out.
Yeah,
or
we
something.
Rob has mentioned Vince Velasquez for the last 2 years now. That since we've been
he
broadcasting
needs to be in the
together,
bullpen.
he's been screaming. He's been screaming about Vince Velasquez going into the bullpen.
Vince Velasquez
And
is
here
a
we go. We
bullpen
got
guy.
tip-off of the national championship
started.
game. It just started. It's going to be fun. I'll keep you guys updated.
Frank's on the case, so
There
let
we
us know
go.
if anything big happens. Let's segue, because this Philadelphia 76ers, Markelle Fultz returns. Looks okay, but
I think he's been okay, although
he
he
ran into Joel Embiid and broke his cheekbone.
Yeah,
and
that's a
Joel
problem.
Embiid had to have surgery, and he's going to have to wear a mask if he can play at all in the first round of the playoffs. The Sixers are going to be playing the Cavaliers on Friday night. That's going to be for the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs. I think the Sixers should lose on purpose, frankly. I think they should go back to tanking for a night, because I don't want to play the Washington Wizards with a healthy John Wall in the first round of the playoffs with a nicked-up Embiid.
no, you're
I think
not
that's a
wrong about that.
recipe- I
Right.
think that's a recipe for disaster. I'd much rather play the Indiana Pacers.
It's a better matchup for
Yeah.
sure.
For sure. I mean, the Pacers
they-
they're a pretty good team. They're a middle of the road team. They got Old Depot.
The
they got
Wizards are
Jarrett
the
Collison.
Wizards are a tough matchup for the Sixers because they're quick.
Agreed.
They're real quick, and that's
And John Wall he might be a top 10 player.
Yeah, I mean, look, nobody's going to stop Embiid. Nobody's going to stop Ben Simmons. But do they have anybody that could stop Wall and Beal?
They have Otto Porter too.
Yeah, he's not bad either. I mean, that's a pretty decent team.
Gortat takes up space underneath. I mean, I'm not trying to play the Wizards at all. But I mean, that's the Sixers. Flyers got a big win yesterday.
Yes, they
Huge
did.
win.
That's a huge win
win
against the Bruins.
because
Tried to blow it.
they could be playing the Bruins in the playoffs.
Mm.
If the Devils catch them, they could be playing the Bruins. Most likely, they're gonna play the Capitals, unless they can catch the Penguins. I don't know if they
Right.
are or not. That's asking a lot. I want to real quick give some baseball scores.
God, take it
for
around
you.
the league.
There we go.
Okay, right now right now we have today Yankees and Rays were postponed because of the snow. Pirates won their 4th in a row as they knocked off the Twins 5-4. Detroit finally won a game. They beat the Royals 6-1. The Cardinals beat the Brewers 8-4. That's the first loss of the season, I believe, for the Brewers.
That is. The Cardinals did not look good over the weekend.
And boy, how bad are the Cubs right now?
Cubs are not playing good.
They got shut out by the
they're-
Cincinnati Reds.
who stink.
Who it's hard to
Wow.
believe that their pitching
And
staff
they lost two
can
of
shut anybody out.
they
crazy.
lost
That is-
they lost 2 of 3 to the Miami Marlins, who were
Yeah, that is not championship baseball. And right now the White Sox, who have looked pretty good in their first 2 games, knocking off the Royals, they lead the Blue Jays 2-1 in the bottom of the 7th. Other games, the Red Sox are pummeling the Marlins 6-1. So those said Marlins who knocked off the Cubs are showing what they really are against the Red Sox, as they are getting their brains beat in. The Astros are hammering the Orioles 4-0. And the Nationals are taking it to the Braves 6-1. Later on tonight, Dodgers at Diamondbacks.
that's a good series.
That'll be an interesting series. Texas at Oakland. And here's a good one, the Indians and the Angels. And the Rockies at the Padres. Indians and Angels are going to be an interesting matchup, I'll tell you what.
Absolutely.
That's going to be a fun series to watch, because you're going to be seeing
Potential playoff matchup.
yeah,
Same with the
absolutely.
Dodgers and the Diamondbacks.
Yep. So there's some good series being played this week. Certainly, I'm a little interested in seeing how the Braves match up with a team like the Nationals.
Not so good tonight.
No, not so good tonight, but I'm a little. That kind of raises my curiosity. How good are the Atlanta Braves? I don't know who's.
The Nationals are loaded. They don't even have Daniel Murphy playing yet.
No, I know. The Nationals are should win that division pretty easily. I mean, they're by far the best team in that division.
Bryce Harper, he had 2 home runs Sunday. He's back at it again tonight.
Yeah, Bryce
with a
Harper
home
is
run.
Bryce Harper's a really.
How much money is he going to get?
Oh, I would say around 30 to 35 mil.
For how many years? 10?
8.
8?
I'd say 8 to 10. But I don't think nobody's giving out 10-year contracts anymore. But I would say around 35 mil for 8 years. I could see that. So how much would that be? That's 240 and then 5 times it, 280 million for 8 years.
Jeez.
I could see that.
I think you're low. I think you're low, but I think these guys are going to get more than that.
Yeah.
Harper, Trout,
Yeah, they're
Machado.
Who's going to pay him?
somebody's going to be a $300 million man soon. It's going to be one of those
But what
three.
did Stanton get? Didn't Stanton get 310?
Yeah,
but
that's
Stanton
right.
is better than all of them, though. None of those guys have ever hit 59 home runs.
What are you kidding? You're
And-
taking,
and won
you're
an
taking
MVP.
Stanton over Bryce Harper? Are you out of your mind?
Listen,
Come on. Stop. I know he's a Yankee. I know he's your boy. You know he's the flavor of the month for you right now. Great opening series. You're gonna sit here and tell me that Giancarlo Stanton is a better ball player than Bryce Harper? Are you out of your mind?
Bryce Harper has, at this point in his career, has had one phenomenal season and a few very, very, very good seasons.
The dude's 24.
No, I understand that. And Stanton is, what, 26?
He's older than that.
No, he's
28.
27. He's 27. He's 27. Judge is 25. So he's 27. Yeah, that's still pretty young, though. There's both pretty young players. But Harper's been doing it since he was 19 years old. All right, I mean, listen. Either one of those guys, you can't go wrong. All right, maybe Harper does get $300 million. I just don't know who's going to pay him. I mean, are the Dodgers gonna pony up that much money, or are the Yankees gonna pony up that much money for him? I mean, I just wonder. The Red Sox, they're not going to be able to do it. They basically have shot their money out the window this year with that $235 million payroll. If they try to sign a free agent next year, they're going to be paying double for the luxury tax. So
Well, the Dodgers are going to do something.
can they do that though? Or, I mean, are they? I guess they could.
Yeah.
But what about? But don't they have to re-sign Kershaw?
They'll make it work. They need they're missing.
So you're
they're
saying-
missing a slugger.
So you're saying that the Dodgers are going to add another $70 million to their payroll next year? Because that's what it's going to take.
Well, whether it's Harper or it's somebody else.
If they've re-signed Harper and Kershaw,
Dodgers are getting someone. The Cubs. I would consider the Cubs major players for Harper too, because him and Chris Bryant are apparently homies.
well, and, I mean, another guy you have to consider who's a great player that doesn't get talked about all that much is Charlie Blackmon. He's a big time player too. Let's not forget him. And then there's Manny Machado.
he had 2 bombs last night too. He's so good. Charlie Blackmon's so good.
He's real good. He's
All
real
right,
good. And you know what? He's
so-
underrated too.
All right, we are at the first break of the national championship game. Michigan is up with a score of 11-8.
Oh, no, it's done.
It's a little
over.
early.
Still early.
It's done.
Yeah, well,
They've
that's it. You know, you can pack your bags and go home. Villanova lost.
They're out.
Oh, man.
They'll never be able to get that 3-pointer.
You win either way, Frank.
Yeah, but I want more money,
I mean,
you know?
5 Bitcoins.
I need 20 Bitcoins.
That's a lot of French fries, you know.
I know, 20 Bitcoins and
You can get a lot of
400
fries for
French
that.
fries. I mean,
Yeah.
I need more French fries.
I'm rooting for you. I
Yeah.
I don't
I think
wanna
we
see
all
Michigan win.
I think we
I
all
really
are.
don't want Michigan to win. Not one bit.
Be the deserving champion. They've been the best team all
Yeah.
year.
I really don't want Michigan to win.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it.
Please, Nova.
You know, it's very early. No,
Yeah.
Nova weren't they down like 9-1 against one of those teams?
I don't remember.
One of the games they started really bad, and then they just they made a couple of Jay Wright made a couple of adjustments,
Yeah.
and then they pummeled somebody. I just can't remember which game it was. I think it was the game that not the Final 8 game, the Sweet 16 game.
Oh, against
West Virginia. That
West
was,
Virginia,
that was a
yeah.
dogfight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
West Virginia.
West Virginia gave.
I tell you what, if that Mohamed Ginte or whatever
Yeah.
his name was, if he didn't get in foul trouble, Nova.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Nova might be watching this game on TV.
Oh yeah.
He had their number down low because the big men didn't bring their A game that night, and West Virginia played a heck of a ball game.
Oh yeah.
Nova didn't give in to their press, which helped them win. And Jalen Brunson, I'm happy he's getting all the accolades postseason as far as player of the year. They didn't name him Naismith yet, but he got the AP Player of the Year. I think he got Associated Press. He got one other one too, but
Is he a top 5 pick this year?
Brunson.
Yeah.
I mean, apparently not. But I don't get it. It's all potential.
Yeah, I guess. What about Michael Bridges?
He'll be a lottery pick.
Yeah. I'm looking at a bunch of mock
It's
drafts.
strange
Bridges
because
is gonna be top 10.
It's hard to figure because these guys, as good as they are in college, sometimes they don't. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not always. It's always the same when you're playing. It's a different game, I guess. It's kind of like college football. Sometimes
It
the
is,
guys in
yeah.
college football are great players, but they just don't pan out in the pros. It's strange. It's strange because in hockey, usually the guys that are fabulous, players and juniors, usually that does translate into the NHL.
Yeah.
It almost.
I don't
always,
understand
it
how you
almost
can,
always
I don't
does.
understand how. I mean, I get it. I mean, Jalen Brunson, he can't jump out of the building. He's not going to dunk from the foul line. I get it. He's not going to be the franchise guy. So I understand he's not a top 10 pick. I don't understand how if you're not, in the middle of the draft or the back of the draft, and you need a solid point guard. I mean, 6'2", 6'3", 200 pounds. Why you wouldn't want Jalen Brunson on your team?
Oh, I could tell you why. Because he's got to guard guys like Ben Simmons,
Right.
who'll take him down low every time, and it's gonna be tough to.
But there's only one Ben Simmons.
That's true. That's true. Ben Simmons is so good. The problem with that is that you can't let a point guard Ben Simmons. It's gonna have to be like a small forward that guards Ben Simmons. Because he's a matchup nightmare.
But I mean, you're taking the most extreme case scenario for Jalen Brunson
Well,
he's
how
not
many-
Ben Simmons? That's why he's not a top 10 pick.
How many point guards are like are taller than 6'6" at this point? Probably not that many, right?
I mean,
Are there
that's
that
the-
many
that's
now?
the-
Is that
that's
the new? That's the new craze, right? That they're all like 6'7", 6'8".
right? That's
Yeah.
Because it used to be 6'7", 6'8" was a power forward. And all your 6'10", 7-foot players were either power forwards or centers.
Yeah.
But
looking at this year's draft class, like
can
the
you
top.
do you have a mock draft? Where do
I
you
actually
go?
do have a mock draft up. Let's see. As of right now, I'm going at NBADraft.net. Probably one of my
Sixers will
favorite
probably
ones.
have 2 picks. By
The
the way.
Sixers, as of right now, they have the 10th pick,
Wow.
and they are going to use that pick to draft Mikal Bridges from Villanova.
That's perfect.
The number 1 overall pick in the draft will go to the Phoenix Suns. They'll draft DeAndre Ayton from Arizona.
Yeah, good luck with that one. That guy's
Marvin
a crumb.
Bagley goes to Memphis.
I would take him first. Bagley
Bagley.
from Duke. What
Is
a
he
stud.
Bagley? Is he Bagley's kid? John Bagley's kid. Bagley used to go to Boston College. I think he was a pro for a while.
Let's see. Marvin Bagley.
don't know.
I wonder.
But Marvin
'cause-
Bagley
Marvin
is really,
Bagley.
really good.
Yeah, there used to be a John Bagley that played for BC, and then he played in the NBA for a while.
And I think
Not
pretty good
related.
player.
Not related to John Bradley.
I would take the
Okay.
kid from Texas over Ayton too.
Oh, Mo Bamba.
Mo Bamba.
Yeah.
That guy is good, man.
I know a lot of people are also talking about Luka Doncic from Slovenia. He's the top international prospect. So in this draft, they have Michael Porter going as high as 3. I really,
I mean,
I don't want a guy who plays 3 games in the top 5. I'm sorry.
Kyrie Irving only played 17 games at Duke.
Yeah, but
Doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean but Michael Porter though, it's like
the back is
It's
more,
the back. It's the back. It's the 3 games. I mean, I can understand with Kyrie. He did play more games at Duke, but it's 3 games at Missouri. You're going off of that. Yeah, he was a top high school prospect, but it doesn't help. It doesn't.
I mean,
help.
the only 2 really high school prospects that I can remember that were just knock 'em out dead, incredible pro players were Moses and
yeah,
LeBron. I mean,
Moses
other
LeBron.
Moses
oh,
and
Garnett,
LeBron.
Garnett and Kobe.
Garnett. Yeah, you're right. Garnett and Kobe. Okay.
Kobe wasn't right away though.
He was right away.
No, he wasn't. You know, it took him a few years to
Right.
get.
It took him a couple of
acclimated
years.
Yeah.
It took him a
pros.
couple of years to get great. They traded what's his name?
The Hornets traded him.
The Hornets traded him for Vlade
Divac, yeah.
Ay.
Yeah.
That trade was good for the Hornets at first.
It was
because,
good, but then
because they were able to put him at center, and
Yeah.
then they were able to move Larry Johnson and Alonzo Mourning
Yeah.
together. They were able to play the 3 towers together. But you know what? They never got anywhere in the
T-Mac
playoffs.
was another one.
If you're looking at like, I would pick Jalen Brunson to be on my NBA team before I pick Trae Young.
I think Brunson's a winning player.
Is
no
that
matter where
fair
he
or is that
goes.
unfair?
It's fair.
It's not that. I mean, Trae
Right.
Young. I mean, he can just pull up from anywhere and hit it. But you know, we saw Oklahoma ended the season. They probably
Yeah.
shouldn't have even been in the NCAA
Right.
tournament.
I'd rather take
They-
Sexton over Young at this point.
Colin Sexton from Alabama.
Yeah, I
real
like
good.
Sexton.
Brad, the 9th pick. We got the Wendell Carter. from
Wendell
Duke
Carter.
going to your Knicks.
What position does he play?
He's a center. He's a 6'10"
Power forward center.
He's good. He's
Okay,
good.
well, would he be a good match with Porzingis? You think?
Oh well, anybody would be a good
Yeah.
matchup. But that guy's really good.
Can he protect the rim? Because boy, we need somebody that can protect the rim.
He should. I mean, he's
'Cause,
only
you know,
18.
you
He's
know,
6'10".
Cantor,
He's fill out.
as good as Cantor is,
Oh, this guy's better than Cantor.
Cantor is a
better than Cantor.
rebounder, can rebound and score, but
Cantor will be
he
off
can't. He can't defend the rim.
See, but this is what I don't understand. And then on this mock draft, I don't know, when was this updated? I'm on I'm on NBA
updated.
Draft Net. Is that what you're on?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was updated on the 29th, so I guess they're going to factor in the tourney once it's all said and
Yeah,
done.
but how is Wagner from Michigan a second-round pick? That makes no sense. That guy's a beast.
He's really good.
If the Sixers took him at 10, I'd
Yeah.
be fine
but
with
once
it.
again, they always like to
Whose
update.
pick do they have at 10? I'm just curious.
They have the
Um,
Lakers pick.
Yeah, that's right. The Lakers.
Holy
pick.
They have the
smokes.
Lakers pick as long as it's not pick 2 through 6.
Yeah.
Who was the Nets pick? Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So Cleveland has the 7th pick on this draft. They
Yeah.
haven't taken Trae Young.
Wow.
But I don't understand. And then you have an excellent perimeter defender in Devontae Graham, who's going 38th on this to the Knicks, which would be an awesome second-round pick. Someone who's that good and can shoot a 3-and-D guy like that.
Well, that would be nice
I
if
don't
the Knicks could
understand.
get some decent players because you know what?
Man, let me see this other.
It's
mock
gone
draft.
after Porzingis got hurt. It's been a
But
disaster.
you're
do you know
telling
that they're 10-40 since Porzingis got hurt?
Well, that's what I mean. What did you think was going to happen?
10-40 though. I mean, I knew it was going to be tough, Rob, but 10-40.
Oh.
10-40 is like what you guys used to
Cool.
be. No,
It's
wait,
bad.
no, that you weren't.
All right, so I'm looking
bad.
at
They
one
weren't
other.
that good.
I'm looking
They
at
were.
one other mock draft from Yard Barker. They actually have Moritz Wagner going 21st to the T-Wolves.
That's better. I mean,
Yeah, and then this draft was updated a couple hours ago, so it'll. I mean,
Well,
once the tourney
how are
ends,
you going to tell me teams at the end of the first round are going to take the Grayson Allen over Mo Wagner?
yeah,
That makes no sense. I don't understand it.
yeah. Allen, at best, he's a second rounder or very late first round, second round
He
guy.
can't get to the rack
He
in
can't.
the
He
NBA.
can't get to the
He
rack.
couldn't get to the rack in college.
He could just be like he could just play pest all
I
career.
mean, he's the poor man's version of J.J. Redick.
right.
J.J. Redick is a
Yeah.
great pro and was an excellent college.
Great player at Duke. I'll give
Excellent.
him that. Even when he came out of Duke, I remember.
He
I
was
remember.
good.
I remember the draft that he was
could
taking.
defend. He could,
I
he could play
wanted.
defense.
I wanted JJ to get. I wanted the Sixers to take JJ when he was leaving Duke. Like finally, he's in a Sixers uniform. Yeah, it's basically near the end of his career,
Who
but
did he get picked?
Yeah, but he could still hit a big shot
he
for you.
could still hit
Who
shots
did he
for
get
it.
picked by?
He got picked by Orlando, if I remember correctly.
Was it the Magic?
That was a while ago.
Yeah. He was drafted by the Magic in 06. Who did we draft?
Did he play
that
for
year?
the Magic? Was
He
he
did.
traded away?
He played for
Okay.
the Magic. Yeah, and I remember our pick, the Sixers pick of Thabo Cephalosha.
Ooh.
Yeah, and we traded his rights to Chicago, so he never played in a Sixers uniform. In
The
exchange
Sixers had some
for
real gems. Rodney Carney,
Rodney
Oh,
Carney.
God.
Evan Turner,
Oh,
Sean Bradley.
Sean Bradley.
Boy.
Larry Hughes.
Oh, that was when they that
the
was
Dirk
when
and the Dirk and Paul draft.
that's yeah. Larry Brown.
98.
Larry Brown said he passed on Paul Pierce because he promised Larry Hughes that he was going to pick him.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
You
Promise. I pinky swore, so I
pinky
had
swear.
to take Larry Hughes. Ugh.
That was the reason he didn't pick Pierce?
I mean,
That was
there's
Wow.
story
Yeah.
Larry Hughes worked out for the Sixers and like he did real good.
yeah. He had a
And
decent
Larry
NBA
Brown,
career.
Larry
though.
Brown said that we're gonna told him we're gonna pick you.
Wow.
And then even though some of the people
Listen,
in
the
some
worst
of the people in the front office were like, yo, like
The
maybe you
worst-
should look at this guy Paul Pierce.
the
out of
worst guy
Kansas.
though. The worst guy you guys had was John Lucas.
Hmm.
Oh
Another
man.
gem.
Oh man. And he
Rodney
yeah.
Carney was
He had
pretty
all
bad.
John Lucas got all the losers, all the ex-drug addicts, and all the guys that were busts, and he put them on one team.
Man.
And what a disaster that was.
Let me take a look at some of these disastrous drafts.
We
Let's
the
see.
Sixers terrible draft.
Man.
Take a look at some of the drafts the Knicks had. They passed on Ron Artest in '98 to get Frederick Weiss, who
Nice.
never
Oh,
played an
Frederick
NBA game.
Weiss. Oh my
Never played
goodness.
an NBA game.
And now you just remember him being dunked on by Vince Carter.
yeah. Oh man.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
the
right. They
83
You
passed on
got him
Vince
up there.
Carter.
You got him up there, Frank. I
Who?
feel like the Sixers picks.
The six. Yeah, I got him up. I got all the all-time
Go ahead.
list.
Rattle some of them off.
Let's see. Do you want the good ones or the bad ones?
Just
All
just
of
for, go back to like
I'll just go first round,
yeah.
starting back.
Go back a
to-
couple years.
Going back. Let's see. Let's go to when they officially became the Sixers. So 63, they were the Sixers.
Oh, we don't have to go back
Real-
that far.
Well, let's go past 20 years. Let's go that. So
Start with Iverson. Obviously, Iverson.
all right, so the
slammed
Iverson
up.
draft. So the 96 draft, you have Iverson in the first round.
And they tried to pick a guard every year that would play with Iverson, and it
Yeah,
never worked
it
out.
never
'cause
worked
Iverson
out.
couldn't play with anybody.
Because then
Couldn't share the
97,
ball.
Keith Van Horn. 98,
That
Larry
was
Hughes.
but he was traded right away.
Keith Van
That's
Horn
right.
wasn't a bad player though.
Yeah.
Like yeah, maybe
He
not
was
at
pretty
first.
good.
The Sixers picked him,
Yeah,
but
they
traded
picked up
him.
but traded him.
Traded him right away, and then they got him later in his career, and he
Yeah.
was so bad, very frustrating,
And then Larry Hughes in 98.
terrible.
And then 99, we had a second round pick in Todd McCulloch.
T Mac, Big Red.
Yeah, Big Red.
I remember him trying to cover Shaq in the 2001 finals, so Dikembe Mutombo wouldn't get in foul trouble.
Yeah.
And it's just Shaq. I thought Shaq was going to break him in half.
From what I looked at McCulloch's body of work, he had a, I mean,
That's
he-
pretty
he-
good.
he-
That's a pretty
but
solid second round pick. honestly.
solid second round pick, but injuries got in the way though with his career.
He had good feet. He could score around the basket. He was nothing special, but there's certainly worse you could do in the second round.
Yeah, and then 2000 draft, Speedy Claxton from
Yeah.
Hofstra.
Ugh.
In
I
an
remember
already
him.
terrible draft of 2000.
I remember him.
01, Samuel Dallenberg.
Oh boy, he was a slug.
Then in 02, we had I hope I'm pronouncing Yuri Welsh.
I don't even remember him. I don't
Yeah.
remember playing a game.
I don't even know. Yeah, he didn't even play for us. We drafted him, but he never played for us.
Classic. Love when
Yeah.
that happens.
And then, let's see, 03, we had a second-round pick in Pacellus Morlende. I don't think he ever played in
No,
a
who
uniform
cares?
for
You
us.
skip the second round. There's
Yeah.
no way they're any good.
Yeah, I'm just going by what we got in our drafts. And then 04, we had Andre Iguodala.
Solid.
05, Lou Williams.
Yeah, it was a good pick. He was a second-round pick.
Second rounder,
correct?
45th. And then 06, Thabo Cephalosha. Never played for us. Then the 07 draft, we got 2 players, Thad Young. And
Solid.
3 first-round picks. Daquan Cook from Ohio State. And with the 30th pick, we had Petteri Koponen.
Classic.
Yeah.
That was solid.
Don't even remember him.
Wow, you know,
Remember
I'm
the
looking
Thad
at
Young
some of the
guy.
I'm looking at some of the Knicks picks. Oh my God, are
And
these atrocious?
then in 08, Maurice Spates. Drew Holiday in 09.
That was a good
Drew
one.
Holiday was.
It was a good pick. Evan Turner.
Evan Turner stunk. I don't care what anyone says. I hated Evan Turner.
He was okay. He
He's
wasn't.
terrible.
He wasn't great, but I mean, he had a decent. He was decent at best. He wasn't great.
8 minutes to go in the first half. Villanova trails 21.
All right, they're
to
hanging
16.
in there. Hanging in there. That's good.
They'll
And
be
they get
okay.
busted on the traveling. And then 11, Nikola Vucevic. He's now currently playing for Orlando. Then then in 2012, Mo Harkless. I think we traded that pick away.
He played here briefly, but he
Yeah.
went somewhere else.
To Orlando, I believe.
You guys think Tiger's going to win the Masters?
No.
No,
No?
no.
He's
He hasn't won a major
swinging
yet.
it well.
He hasn't won a major
He
yet.
hasn't won a tournament since 2013.
Well, he's won
Yeah.
small tournaments.
he hasn't
that
won
don't-
any tournament
that don't-
since 2013.
Yeah.
I thought he won some small ones.
No, he's won nothing.
Oh, okay.
And then
I wonder who he's
13,
paired- with.
MCW.
Michael Carter Williams.
2014, Joel Embiid and Alfred Payton, which we traded to get Dario
Dario.
Saric.
Good trade.
Great trade. And then the year later, Jahlil Okafor. Pick I still don't like, which I still should have thought that they should have drafted Porzingis in that year. But they also got who will become an eventual Nick Willie Hernan-Gomez.
Yeah, now he's on. He got traded to Charlotte. I think.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
And then the following year, we had 3 first-round picks: Ben Simmons, Timothé Luwawu, Furkan Korkmaz, and then last year's draft,
Well, you
Markelle
see,
Fultz.
they drafted correctly
Yeah,
in what 2 of the last 3 years.
yeah.
I mean, Saric and who was Saric and Embiid in the
Yeah.
same draft. I mean, that's a home run,
Yeah,
big time.
big draft. I
That's
mean,
2 starters in one draft.
I
That's
was
huge.
very cautious with Joel Embiid. Hate to say that, but
I
I was
always
very
thought he was
cautious.
gonna. I always thought he was going to be a stud if he was able to get himself.
If he was
on the
able to be
court.
healthy, that was my big fear, because I know with big guys like Joel Embiid and having that kind of injury, it's like, oh no, we're probably going to get like a Greg Oden
Right,
Oden
he's
guy
got
out
the
Joel
back.
Embiid.
He's got the back,
He's got
the
the-
knee, and the
yeah.
foot. The 3 biggest bugaboos.
So I
ever.
thought they could have gone like with Dante Exum with the 3rd pick, but
that would have been
we
that would've been
we all know how that turned out. So I'm kind of glad that Joel is actually playing well. And Dario, thank
Boy,
goodness the wait.
I'll tell you what.
happened.
I'm looking at some of these Knick picks.
The Knick
you
picks.
You want to know why the Knicks has stunk for the last 20 years? Listen to this. I'm going to go back to.
They haven't stunk for the past 20 years.
Oh, for the last 20 years, they've been terrible. Since the major mistake of passing on our test for Frederick
Jeez.
Weiss, okay? 2000, Donnell Harvey and LeVar Postel.
Hmm.
Then 2001, Michael Wright and Eric
Jeez.
Chenoweth. Then 2002, remember Nene Hilario?
Nene.
Nene's a pretty good player. Well, he never played for the Knicks. They traded him immediately. And Milos Vujanic. Then 2000.
The only guy you've read 5 names. You've read 5 names. I've heard of one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
2000,
wow.
2003, you heard of this guy, Mike Sweetney, except he was no good. He was great in Georgetown, but he was no good in the
Yeah.
pros. Majek Lampy and Slavko Varanis. Then
Yeah.
2004, Trevor
Both
Ariza.
for 2.
All right.
2005 was not bad.
I don't
Channing
remember
Frye.
Ariza on the Knicks. Did they trade him right away?
No, they had him for like 2 or 3 years, and then they traded him.
Yeah, that's
He
right.
was a late bloomer, I
Yep.
guess.
Yeah.
Channing Frye, David Lee, and Dejon Thompson. That was not a bad
Not
draft.
a bad draft.
Not bad, but the problem is Channing Frye was the 8th pick in the draft.
Yeah.
That isn't good enough. 2006, this was a terrible one. Ronaldo Balkman and then Marty Collins from Temple.
Marty Collins.
Yep.
Solid Big Five guy, but not an NBA
Yeah.
pick.
No.
That was a first-round pick, Marty Collins?
Marty Collins was a first-round pick. He was
29th.
the 29th pick in the draft. Then in 2007, Wilson Chandler. Ugh. Then 2008, Danilo Gallinari.
Danilo.
He was okay, but he was never.
See,
good.
I remember when they traded him to Denver.
That was for Anthony.
That was the Melo trade.
Yeah, that wasn't.
That was a
wasn't-
great trade at the time. I mean,
That was a good. That was still a good trade for the Knicks because
Yeah.
they really didn't give up anybody. That ended up being good.
yeah.
Then Jordan Hill, that was a killer. That was a terrible pick in the 2009. Then in 2010, Andy Rautkins and Landry Fields. Oh my God. In 2011, Ian Shumpert. Iman Shumpert. Then 2012, Kostas Papanagalu,
Yeah.
whoever that is.
A Greek guy.
Yeah, somebody who's not good, which is kind of typical
Yeah.
of what the Knicks were
Right.
drafting the whole time. And then the next year they drafted Tim Hardaway Jr., which is not a bad pick.
Not a bad pick.
Not a bad pick. Then the following year, Cle Anthony Early and
Thanasis
Thanasis-
Antetokounmpo, Giannis's brother.
yeah,
His
the
younger
wrong-
brother.
the
The
wrong
one.
Yeah,
the
wrong one.
which
the,
is
the Eagles always do that stuff.
Which is-
they always get the
And there's a
wrong-
third one along the way.
which by the way is just
for,
how typical is that of the Knicks that they draft the Antetokounmpo but not the right one. And then of course they had Porzingis in 2015, who's been good, but then last year Ntilikina, who's been Damian Dotson, who never plays, and Onjian Jamarez, who the hell knows who that is. But I go through all these guys, and then you want to know why the Knicks have been in the playoffs like once in the last 20 years.
What about the NFL
boy,
draft?
oh
What about
boy.
the NFL draft buzz? There's some rumors going around that your Giants
the
are
one.
liking Darnold a lot.
I've heard rumors that they like Darnold. Then I've heard rumors that they like Rosen, and I've heard rumors that they like
I've said
Barkley.
it a million times, and I'll say
And
it
then
again.
they like the defensive end. What's his name? Bradley Chubb.
Bradley Chubb.
And then they like the offensive
How
offensive
can
lineman
you not
from.
pick Saquon Barkley?
Well,
how can
we've
you
heard
not pick
we've
this
heard them
guy?
all. Listen, we don't know who they're going to pick. Gettleman has definitely not tipped his hand. I mean, we don't even know if they're going to. We don't know if they're going to trade down, if they're going to try to get more picks. I mean, heck, they've even floated rumors that they might trade Beckham for 2 first-round picks. I mean, who knows what they're going to do? They've been all over the map. I'm sure they have a plan. But
3-point play by Dante DiVincenzo.
what is the score now?
23-21.
So they're slowly but surely
It's
pecking
gonna be a
away.
good game.
They're
I'm
pecking
not-
away. They're
I wasn't
they're
seeing
hanging
a
in there.
blowout in this one. But I mean,
And
how can
DiVincenzo's
you
got
not
11
just-
points so far.
It's the easiest pick. Saquon Barkley. Boom.
But he could be the number 1 pick. If the Browns pick him, then what
he
do the
should
Giants
be.
do?
That's,
Should
that's my
be.
point.
Yeah, he should be, but we are talking about the Browns. And
And
the
I
Browns,
think the Browns are going to pick a quarterback.
they could
They've been
trade.
like the
They could trade the pick too. Who knows with them? They're such a strange organization.
Ooh, nice slam, but
they're so
it's waved off.
Yeah, they're just.
whoever gets Saquon Barkley in the top 5, I assume he doesn't drop out of the top 5. I
Yeah,
hope
there's
he
no way.
I hope he doesn't for the sake of everything that's right about.
Well, I can tell you the one team that will definitely draft him would be the 49ers at 9 if he gets that low.
If he gets to 9, I give up.
Yeah.
I know nothing about anything.
I mean, that would really tell you just how devalued the running back position is in the NFL if that happens. But I mean, the Cowboys
Zeke went
drafted Zeke at 4th, and that
Yeah.
was a good
It
move.
was a good
Fournette
move.
went 4th last year. Gurley went 10th.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It's making a comeback.
It should. Running the football is just as important as passing the ball.
Right.
I mean, especially if you play in the Northeast like the Eagles or the Giants. or any of the teams in our division.
The Browns.
The Browns.
play
Yeah,
Browns.
any team that plays in a cold environment, you have to be able to run the ball. You can't just throw the ball all the time. You just can't. You've got to be able to run the ball, play physical football, beat up the defensive line a little bit, let your offensive linemen slam into them instead of being forced backwards all the time. I mean, you really need to do that. If you can establish a running game, what good team that's been able to run the ball hasn't been a playoff team? Almost every good team that's run the ball has been a playoff team. Even now in the age of passing, most teams other than Green Bay run the ball, do a pretty good job running the ball. The Patriots always have been good when they run the ball. They may not run it very often.
They throw those bubble screens and stuff.
Bubble screens.
But that's like a
they're
run.
the exception.
And
but
4 or 5
they can run the ball.
Running backs on the chart.
They had Corey Dillon, remember? That one year they had him. I mean,
the Eagles couldn't tackle that man in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean they're
like 130 yards, and
Yeah,
the first guy never got him.
Yeah, I mean he was a good running back, but I mean there's been good running backs lately that have made. I mean Edgerrin James with the Colts.
He was a high draft pick.
Yeah, and he was very good until he hurt his knee, but he was very good. I mean, I know Adrian Peterson has never been in a big game, but that's not his fault. I mean, he's done everything in his
power. He
power.
played in the NFC Championship with that loaded team when they had Brett Favre, and he threw that stupid interception to the Saints.
Yeah, that was the year.
I thought
Minnesota.
the Vikings were loaded that year.
That was the year Minnesota should have won.
Oh.
Yeah, that was their year.
Oh well, the Vikings lost. Oh well.
Well,
they deserve nothing.
Their history.
They deserve nothing.
Their history is a history.
They're such
of
losers.
Constant.
They're
choking.
such losers. And now the Eagles got one in the bank, so I can call all these nerds the losers that they are. Like the Cowboys,
the choking with Minnesota,
and the Vikings.
It started with Joe Cap in Super Bowl III. Or was it Super Bowl 4? Super Bowl 4.
Is that when
Joe
the idiot?
Cap.
Was that when the idiot ran the wrong way?
Alan Page
or Jim Marshall.
Jim Marshall.
Jim
no, that
Marshall
was
ran the
that
wrong
was
way.
No, that was in '74. That was a
that was later.
Game.
That was later.
That was the regular
Was that
season
the Super
game.
Bowl though?
No.
That was
a regular season game.
Regular season.
Yeah.
Against the Niners.
Yeah, and I remember even his own team, they were laughing on the sideline.
Still the greatest sports blooper ever.
Fortunately for him, he spiked the ball and it went out of the end zone, so it was a safety.
Yeah.
How do you run the wrong way?
Because he picked up the ball and he just started running. He lost.
He wasn't paying attention. He just was excited he had the ball.
He had the ball. He picked up the ball on the run, and he didn't even realize that he was running the wrong way. And I remember the guys were screaming at him to turn around and go the wrong way, and he was just in his own little world, And then he spiked the ball, and
Still one of the funniest moments in sports.
Yes,
Nova's turned on the Jets here, 30-26.
Yeah.
Might get home for the second half of this one. Hopefully,
Are they in the lead now?
Yep.
They're up 4.
Up by 4.
Well, my prediction was 7 by halftime. Definitely have a shot for that
prediction.
It's getting.
Michigan's not going.
They're
not going to go away.
Yeah, they're hanging in there. Yeah.
They have good players and they have a good coach and they're one of the best, statistically speaking, the best defensive teams. If you look at analytics and sabermetrics, they.
Well, basketball is a little different than baseball, because baseball you don't win every game.
Right.
The best teams in history still lose 50 games a season. So. I mean that's kind of what happens in baseball. You do lose. So we'll have to see about that.
We got the draft coming. Is our A2D mock draft up yet, Frank?
That would be a question you can ask. I'm not sure who to ask. I think either Chris or Tom. You can ask if it's going to be up. I know.
I could barely even think about who I was going to put on the picks. I was going to get the heat turned up on me. I had to make them real quick
before
with a nice
we
little
go.
blurb, and then it's not even out yet.
Before we go,
it may be out, but I just haven't seen it yet. I haven't checked on the website.
Philadelphia Flyers. Do they get out of the first round of the playoffs?
Probably not, but what can you do with the goalie situation that they're going to have?
I think that they whoever they play, I think they can push a series to 6 games and give somebody a real scare.
Hockey's weird though. Anything can happen in the hockey playoffs.
Well, you know what? I mean, look at it this way. If one of the Flyer goalies gets hot in the first round, You know, they could push it to 6. They could push it to 7.
That's it.
There should be the one thing the Flyers, if they can take advantage of the fact that this is house money this year, and they can go in with a fun attitude and enjoy the playoffs and not get caught up in the pressure, and
They
to
can do it.
let other teams be pressurized.
Well,
maybe they can pull something out.
next week, we're going to have a real clear picture of the NHL and NBA playoffs. Stay tuned next week. Sports Hounds, 8 to 10. We'll see you then.